Trade. Private jets, flights overseas, dime pieces coming by the league. Piano witch playing with the keys. Waterfront chilling in Belize. Greenbacks, rack, blue cheese. Murder ain't came up in the street. Good dope, no price cheap. Pop pills, too high geek. Private jets, flights overseas, dime pieces coming by the league. Piano witch playing with the keys. Waterfront chilling in Belize. Greenbacks, rack, blue cheese. Murder ain't came up in the street. Good dope, no price cheap. Pop pills, too high geek. Counting hundreds with my amigos. Blue water, frozen Sub-Zero. Hit a lick, flip it twice, break bread with my people. Who knock and look out the people? Clutching my desert eagle. Cock, aim, squeeze, trigger, empty clip and reload. Pints, pills, 2 kilo. Bitches coming in trio. Shaking all ass, beat the pot like Migos. Last second shot and one. Free throws, no Master P, but I'm looking for the free code. Pints, pills, 2 kilos. Bitches coming in trio. Shaking all ass, beat the pot like Migos. Last second shot and one. Free throws, no Master P, but I'm looking for the free code. Private jet flights overseas, dime pieces coming by the league. Piano witch playing with the keys. Waterfront chilling in Belize. Greenbacks, rack, blue cheese. Murder ain't came up in the street. Good dope, no price cheap. Pop pills, too high geek. Private jet flights overseas, dime pieces coming by the league. Piano witch playing with the keys. Waterfront chilling in Belize. Greenbacks, rack, blue cheese. Murder ain't came up in the street. Good dope, no price cheap. Pop pills, too high geek. Too high geek. Top floor, nosebleed seat. 4A, 4AB. Push star, got no key. MoneyBoy, Lou got said. Take a picture, paparazzi. Quaaludes, Bill Cosby. Rape a hoe, no, not me. Hashtag MB3. Primetime NBC. On lane, I do me. Dial on, I spit heat. Private jet flights overseas. Dime pieces coming by the league. Piano witch playing with the keys. Waterfront chilling in Belize. Greenbacks, rack, blue cheese. Murder ain't came up in the street. Good dope, no price cheap. Pop pills, too high geek. Private jet flights overseas. Dime pieces coming by the league. Piano witch playing with the keys. Waterfront chilling in Belize. Greenbacks, rack, blue cheese. Murder ain't came up in the street. Good dope, no price cheap. Pop pills, too high geek.
Oh man. This creates a space to where there is validity given to even the approach taken by Kevin Samuels. Because like if you guys look at the way that this guy comes out with this content and you look at how many women continue to call in, right? Obviously, nobody has an issue really with what he's saying. Not really. For the most part, it's about how he shares his insights and the importance that he gives to his insights over the validity of other people and their own right to feel and see life and walk life the way that they see their life unfolding before them. That's what I've always had an issue with. But to some extent, I look at the men that I've had in my life and the amount of transparency they've always had versus some of the women that I've had in my life. And I look at some of the things that we do as women, some of the behaviors that we adapt over a course of a lifespan, and the way that we create this facade to protect us from seeing our true selves. So, I've always been a woman of accountability. I was raised on the schema of accountability and pragmatics. And so that's kind of how I move. That's how I think about life. That's how I map my own life. That's how I cultivate the lives of the young people that I'm responsible for raising, all of that good stuff. However, there was a comment that was made today by a person that I am friends with, and we've been friends for years since I came to Atlanta, really. And it resonated so much with me when she said some of the things that she was saying. And I kind of started to play back some of the conversations that I've had with this young lady over the course of us knowing each other. And like I said, we've known each other for a span of years. I want to say maybe 15, 16 years or so here, right? Now, she is fairly young, so I do give her that, right? She's in her 30s, and life comes full circle eventually, right? But she and I have been having conversation about the ins and outs of relationships and dating, what her life looks like. And for whatever reason, I really had to sit with something that she was saying today, you know. So nowhere in the conversation did I mention that her life or my life was a comparable entity, right? So there are just some basic things. Like I told you guys, I'm about accountability. So I've always been this way before there was ever a Kevin Samuels. Literally. Literally before he was ever born.
Like I told you guys, I'm about.
But hey Trey, mute your thingy. Okay, yeah. But so I've always been that way. My entire life has been grounded on pragmatics, making things come into alignment with where we are in life, right? And helping people, including myself, when I take those very, very tedious looks into the mirror, I like to look at myself and see, what's there? What's there? What am I seeing? What am I becoming? Where am I in my journey of becoming, right? These are questions I've always asked myself. So I always have other people do that same level of self-reflection. I think it's really healthy to see where you are. I think it's really healthy to see where you've been. I think it's really healthy to figure out, how much life has taught you and, all that good stuff, right? So, anyway, to get back to this conversation that I was having, I have always given an opportunity to everybody that comes my way, that comes in contact with me. The people that want to connect with you, you sometimes have to find a usefulness for them if they, in some way, at any point, can add value to you. I believe in that wholeheartedly. But at some points, you've got to learn how to distance yourself from people. Simply because some people will become toxic. Some people will become a hindrance to your success in the future. Some people just simply will not allow you to be great and shine, right? These are things that I've told this young lady over the course of her becoming as well. These are things that I hold, true for myself, and I've also shared them with her. So today we're having a conversation about her son. Her son just graduated high school, and her son says he has no clear plan as to what he wants to do right now with his life, right? He just graduated high school last week. Last week. So, and you guys just let me know how you're feeling about this, because I'm going to start with this story and then I'm going to post this content that was shared with me, and you'll kind of see how it all comes into full focus to Kevin Samuel and his delivery of his message and all that great stuff, right? Because I thought about it after I got off the phone with her. I was like, oh my God, when I get out of the session, like I got to do this. So anyway, her son graduated high school a week ago. One of the things that she said, and I won't really get into the details about a relationship or whatever and the status of that, because then people will be able to tie in, things and know who I'm talking about. But so she says that because he doesn't have a plan, the guy who she's currently with told her and her son that he would be going to the military if he didn't have a plan at the end of 30 days.
Jeez.
Okay. And I said, well, you know what? The thing about it is, military, I'm a whole retiree, we don't accept people unless they are 100% voluntary now. So you might be saying you'll put him out, but he still has the choice as to whether or not he joins the military, what he decides to do with his life. And so she was like, well, I'm not about to have a grown man in my house, not working, not doing anything, or just working some job at Burger King, going to work, coming home, and then him staying with me and not paying no bills, and et cetera, et cetera. So then I asked the question, and I want you guys to let me know if you think it's a fair question or not, right?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is this woman black? She sounds like a black woman.
That's racist. Yeah.
I mean, but is it true?
Sure, it's true.
And my racism didn't hurt her. It's not bashing her. It's just kind of like, I figured that was because most black people go through that in their childhood. And me and my mom had this argument, and I tried to bring the family into it. Her nieces and nephews, she didn't want to hear that. I said, well, okay, take me and my brother. Two people, 100% chance of getting this right. I said, you failed on both. We both were put out before we reached 18. So this is something that goes on quite frequently in the Black community.
Now, I had no conversations with you prior to you logging on to that. I want to make sure that I make that very clear, because I know that, you know, she might see this video. Now, I want to make that first point, you know, because what you said just now plays to something that I told her in our conversation. Okay. And to get back to the part where I was in the conversation, my question to her was, how much preparation have you given him up to this point that would lead to him having a plan right now? How much preparation have you given him? She's like, well, he's been seeing my life that, you know, things have been hard and he's seen firsthand. So I've taught him along the way because he's seen me learn along the way. So parents, I'm going to say this because I feel like based off of what she gave me, maybe this is the real issue in America in Black families. You have a job as a parent. One job as a parent. That is to cultivate and shape the life of the person that you are responsible for raising so that they are prepared at the age of maturation to go out into this world and be a contributing, productive member of society. That's your job. That's your one job. Just one. And because she said that nobody taught it to her, and my question for her was, what would your father say if you called him and asked him about what your life has yielded, what your decisions have yielded, and how he feels about your preparedness, what he taught you and his relationship with your mom? That's what I asked her. She got upset because there are things that I know about his role and where she's come from, things she's blocked out, right? So here's the thing, people. Sometimes your parents are teaching you lessons, very difficult life lessons, because you are in a defiant place and because you are a child and you're going through identity crisis. You have no idea that's what's happening. But that's what's happening. And you're reluctant to take the advisement that they are giving you, not only in that moment, but in moments afterwards, where you actually are given the time to reflect and grow from your experiences that life teaches you as a result of you not minding your parents. Okay? So I'm coming full circle with this. Okay. She got upset and she was like, no, because I see what you're saying. You're trying to say it's all my fault. No, I'm asking you, what have you given him to plan from? Right? So it's a fair question. If you are going to give him 30 days to have his life together and have a plan as to how he's going to live out his life, we're talking about life. And you're telling me that the first question that you asked him in conversation was, where do you want to live? Where do you want to live? Where do you want to live? What state do you want to live? Where do you want to live? What? He's just graduated high school. What do you mean, where does he want to live? Where have you taken him?
Does he have any money saved up?
Right.
Does he have a job?
And look, now I'm going to mention, I have not had any conversations with this guy before we did this live. I asked her, that's where I went with the question. I said, at 12 years old, did you start to cultivate him for life? Because that's your job. Remember I said that? Go back to your job. And she said, what do you mean? I've been teaching him his whole life. You haven't had his father in his life. You were spiteful towards his father, didn't allow him to play a role because he chose another woman. He made bad choices in the beginning when you were pregnant, when you were in high school, blah, blah, blah. Whatever excuses you have, that's fine. So what did you teach him from age 12 to 18, right? And she told me, she said, what do you mean what I teach him? Okay, so did you take him to the bank at age 12, open up a savings account, deposit just $10 in it and said, you know what? Every week, this is how you save. Every week, you're going to get an allowance as long as you've done all your chores. We're going to deposit $10 into this account every week. Even a mother, and in America, you guys have assistants. You're a single parent on assistance. You got $10 a week. You got the $10 to put in the account for the child. But anyway, have you done that? And then when he turned 14, did you take him back to the bank and allow him to take his money listen to what I'm saying, his money from his savings account, and then ask the teller, how much of this do I need to open up a checking account, and have them sit down and explain to them APRs and all of the things in and outs about money, where he needs to keep his money if he's planning to save it, where does he need to invest it if he wants it to turn or yield the better return. These are things that the bank will teach your child. You don't have to know anything, because her rebuttal will say, I didn't know any of that stuff myself. This is how you learn.
Well, see, I think you let her off initially off the hook when she said, "You're trying to blame everything on me." Well, ma'am, it is your fault. You're the one that brought the child into the world. You're the one that's using your ignorance of not knowing something as a reason not to teach your child.
I mean, I came back into the conversation with that, in the conversation to her with her, but I have been pressing these things for years, okay? Over 10 years now, in conversations with this woman. I've pressed the importance of her going to therapy. I talked to her yesterday very candidly about where she is right now in her life, considering the repeat mistakes that she's now making, right? That's where I come to Kevin Samuels, because when I've been saying this stuff, and I'm never a person that believes in sugarcoating things, quite abrasive. I just say a thing and I leave it because this is what it is. I'm a person that believes in calling a thing, because you will never change a thing unless you know it's a thing for you that needs changing. And so when I was in conversation with her yesterday, there were certain things that I just didn't touch on because she already indicated there were still factors in her life. But when she started talking about this particular person that she has raising her child, and ladies, I want you to listen to what I say. If you don't hear anything else, skip to where this is in the video and replay this. The man that you choose to have in your life, the man that you choose to have in your bed, the man that you choose to have every single day around your children, right, is the father you chose for your children. Period. So it doesn't matter if he steps into that role or not, because you are teaching your child how to be an adult by your actions, whether that person has a conversation with them or not, whether that person is what your children turn out to be or not. So if that person is abusive to you, right? And when I say that person, I really mean those people, because you're going to keep dating that person and different people as you go along life, because you're bonding based on your trauma and not based off of pragmatics. Pragmatics will bring you into a healthy relationship if that's what you're looking for. Okay. So if you have young boys that you are raising and you find yourself a single mother, don't bring a man into your house, into your bed. Don't bring a man into your life that is not going to be fruitful, not only for you, but for your child, because that is the model of behavior your child has to look forward to becoming as he matures into a man. Okay. So the current person that she has in her life, right? So it's a couple of things. Kevin Samuels talks about the delusions of women. During my call with her, she made several comparative things, reference that she was like, well, you're trying to compare my life to yours and you always have everything figured out and this and the third. Life is not about having everything figured out. It's about learning how to adapt when things fall apart productively. Okay. That's it. So Kevin Samuels wakes up the perceptions of women from the delusional thinking that they have it all together and that life has yielded them or dealt them a bad deck of cards, which is why they can't find what they're looking for. But they have everything that they need to solicit the attention of the type of man that they say that they're going after. And oftentimes this type of man is out of their league. The reality is we as people have leagues. We have characteristics that will define where we are in life, right? We only match up to people who are a good fit for where we are in life. So essentially, if you're looking for a man that makes six figures, where should you be as a woman? What are some of the things that you should be trying to position yourself to offer this man in a relationship that's making six figures in exchange for his productivity?
Dr. Jefferson, now you know all that makes too much sense. And since it makes sense, black women ain't trying to hear that. But also, I feel like I'm on your couch and the narcissism in me is screaming to get out. And my mom cultivated me by having me pay bills from the time I was 14 into the time that I left, which I still resent to this day. And I made sure my kids' mothers did not do the same because I told them if I'm still upset about this as a grown ass man,
Mhm.
like this is something that can travel. So don't do that. Like, why would you like your job is to help that child? Why was I paying bills for you who got child support check for me and my brother, and you had a good job? And you were getting money from me and my brother because both of us worked.
So think about it. Where does that mindset come from?
Greed. Women are greedy. Greed. I'm not gonna say it's because of her mom, because I can't verify that my grandma made her kids pay bills. I say it's just greed.
Well, it depends. More than likely, your grandparents were in the age of people where there was a little bit of a handoff in responsibility of kids. So kids were more like latchkey kids. I came up as a latchkey kid myself. So at the age of 14, you're supposed to be able to stand on your own, do many things independently, and you're supposed to already be ready to go out and step out into the world and live life. And I was definitely one of those kids. However, I did see several kids in that same group end up on drugs and things like that. Some people that came to America were in the same, cycle of behaviors. The thing is this though, right? If you're going to have your child paying bills with their money in lieu of saving their money, what are you cultivating in the mind of that child? And even though you think that that's a toxic characteristic, in many ways your responses are. But in and of itself, you being traumatized or frustrated by that role in the family at that age, it's not uncommon. So my problem is this: you will see a problem in the index of your family system. And as a result, your way of fixing that is to tell your children's mothers to not do that at all. So, not do that at all means that you go in the complete opposite direction. Life is about experiences yielding lessons, right? If you're not learning, you're not living. Life is about learning and then applying the lessons that you learn to your future endeavors, right? So if you take the lesson outside of your trauma, but if you go back to those relived experiences, you just take the lesson from them, what you'll find is that you became a more responsible person a little bit faster than some of your counterparts in your age group, your peers, because you knew what it was like to have responsibility. So where is the happy medium?
Ooh,
How do you use that to cultivate productivity instead of how you say entitlement in your children? How do you channel that energy, that frustration you have with your mom, right, and create the best outcomes for your kids, but still not traumatize them the way that you were traumatized?
narcissism kicking in again. Her reasoning for making me pay bills and my brother is she was teaching us responsibility and how to be men. And as a kid, we had to just accept it because it kind of made sense. But as a grown man, when I had this conversation with her, I was like, I didn't need practice paying bills, ma'am. The first time that I left and I went and got an apartment or anything, they were going to tell me simply, this is when your bill is due. If you don't pay, you got to roll. You go to the light company, get your lights cut on. If you don't pay on this date, your lights getting cut off. I don't need practice for that. So it went back to greed for me. And so I just warned my kids' mom not to do that to my kids. I'm like, if they're working, teach them about saving, let them squander their money or whatever. Teach them about saving, but don't make them pay your bills. That is trash. Mom, I love you, but I've told you it's trash. It's trash.
So not necessarily though. That's what I'm saying. If you take the lessons out of the experience, you did value the fact that
I did
there
not.
is some level of financial responsibility that children need to learn at that age while they're coming up in life, but it needs to look a certain way. So that doesn't mean that you have your child squander their money away. So that's not the answer. The answer is to teach your kids about financial security, teach them about investments, teach them about saving and the benefits of saving and longitudinal saving and then investment saving and CDs and bonds. You know what I'm saying? So you have to teach them the ins and outs of the things that will help them become secure and wealthy in life and not be one of those kids who are spiteful because their mothers or fathers decided to do whatever they wanted with their money instead of teach them how to purpose their money, right? So when I say Kevin Samuels has a point, right? There are a lot of things that women with children need to understand about the lessons that life has been trying to teach them that they refuse to understand. They refuse to give light to. Now, Casey says, no high value man wants to be a cleanup guy. And my question to you is going to be, what do you consider to be a cleanup guy? What does that look like? What does a cleanup guy look like?
You know, you can't ask black people why or what, ma'am. That ends the conversation if you ask those two questions.
Well, no, not necessarily, because a lot of people, if he's saying that no high value man wants to be a cleanup guy, that means that in his mind, he has a really good idea of what a high value male is. I know Kevin Samuels has his thing, right? But I feel like he has a good idea in his mind of what that looks like in reality. And also he has a good idea of what the cleanup guy looks like, because the reality is this, and I did lots of videos talking about the fact that, excuse me, if Kevin Samuels is saying that a woman with children has zero value, or she has to be less than an 8, or whatever that is, average at best, right? His infamous saying. So she had to be all of that just because she had a kid, right? If that's what he's saying, then he can't speak for every single man, for sure. And then also, he cannot equate the value of a woman with her dress size nor her children. You just can't. That's really just not a good comparison.
You can kind of go off stereotypes, though. I'm a man that has 4 kids by 4 women, and I've been told several times by women they don't date men with kids. And most men that are in a certain tax bracket aren't trying to date a female that's in the same situation that I am, that has 4 kids. Not saying that no man will date her, but the chance of her dating a millionaire athlete, a Michael B. Jordan, are slim to none, unless she looks like Black China or somebody.
I don't know.
Stereotypes are important. They're there for a reason.
I feel like they are there for a reason, but also I think that there are a lot of people who make a lot of money who are outside of the limelight, and there are things that a lot of people don't see because people like to live their lives privately, and they're not held to the standards of society's norm when it comes to materialism.
Question, doctor. Did Jeff Bezos' mistress have any kids?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's a refusal to answer because you know that question. What about Bill Gates? Did his mistress have any kids?
I don't know.
Okay. Monica Lewinsky. Monica Lewinsky, did she have any kids?
No, wait. Let me say, when I say I don't know, I'm gonna say that we don't really know, because a lot of these people could have had kids, but they don't have custody of their kids.
As far as we know, they ain't have no kids. These were single women.
Fair enough. But
the stereotype wins.
No, for mistresses. We're talking about longitudinal relationships that are healthy, that are without all the craziness or side chick, side dude kind of thing.
Dr. Jefferson, if you won't allow your side chick to have kids, why would your main chick have kids?
Easy. I have lots of guys who come in for therapy without their wives. I've even had some that bring their side chicks to therapy, actually.
The side chick look better than the wife?
Comparable.
9 times out of 10.
It depends on who's looking.
You.
To me, I would say they kind of look similar, which is one of the things I wanted to talk about.
Ooh.
So sometimes I see, like, oftentimes I see men, if they're cheating, right, and they come into therapy individually for their own personal gain, and they're not coming in, one of their goals isn't to work on their cheating, infidelity. They're in the height of their infidelity. So obviously, and a lot of people don't know this, but I'm going to tell you guys now, from a marriage and family therapist, systems dynamic person, people who are in the height of cheating are living their happiest life. Happiest. Because that's when things become very balanced for you and your wife or husband, whoever's doing the cheating. Because there is a quick alleviation of the symptoms on the surface for the relationship, because relationships are why people cheat, not really the people part. But what I was going to is this. I've seen a lot of guys come in and their side chick and their wife are comparable when it comes to the aesthetics. However, the reason that a lot of men don't want their side chick or women to have kids, because that's more people to account for the relationship that they're having outside of their marriage. So it's about
Kevin Samuels is right. Like, we don't want no dude, no chick with a whole bunch of kids. Just like a woman doesn't want a man with a whole bunch of kids unless he Jeff Bezos.
No, it depends on where you're going with the relationship. Like, some guys are okay. Some guys want a ready-made family because they know that they've gotten too old to have kids, and they want to.
That is hogwash.
No, I'm just being honest. When I matchmake for people, this is some of the stuff that I hear. A lot of guys that, I mean, based on you guys' basic qualifications of high value men, I think that the value of a person lies in the content of their character, not their finances.
Oh, here we go again. I forgot you. You're the one that mentioned your boo on Black Planet, and y'all just fell in love through text.
No, I just think that the content of character is more important longitudinally. So wait, let me go to Casey's responses. As a cleanup guy is a man taking on the responsibility that's not his, and he's paying for the mistake of the single mother. That is a lot.
Unpack it, doctor. Unpack it.
Well, now that, whoa, okay.
Hit the link, Rush.
So, okay, then let's get into this, okay? So he's taking on the responsibility that's not his. Let's just analyze that part of what you're saying. So you're saying that a man who tethers himself to a woman has zero responsibility, or there are other responsibilities other than whatever that woman comes with. Let me understand this a little better. And then when you say mistakes, I want to know, what mistakes of the single mother are we talking about?
I think he's still coming from the aspect of a high value man's perspective. Regular men will do it. I was 20 dating a 35-year-old woman with 6 kids, 2 sets of twins, by the way. So that's why I was saying, like Kevin, I was saying, that doesn't mean that they won't get men. They just won't get the type men that they dream of, which is unrealistic. They think they can have 6 kids and still get Derek Jeter. Not going to happen. Not unless you look like J-Lo.
I don't know about that.
Oh, see, come on, you have to side with Kevin Samuels. You said this.
With that one, I can't, because I can't. I just can't with that one.
Come on to the dark side, doctor. Come on to if you'll feel better. You'll feel better. Come on, say
with him with that one, because like I totally had 3 sets of twins out of my first marriage, and there were lots of doctors and NFL players and people that were vying for an opportunity, and I wasn't interested.
Man, we established when you talked about the Black Planet connection that you're a unicorn.
No, but it's like that. People like what they like. So some things that appeal to the people.
How many kids did Sierra have when Russell Wilson got with her? 1.
But according to Kevin Samuels, she would have been a lower valued woman.
Well, again, she's fine as shit, and she was a high value woman herself, so he was willing to deal with it.
But that's what I'm saying. You think that it was him being willing to deal with something. And according to Casey's response, right,
Yes.
that would be the same mindset. But it doesn't have to be that he's willing to deal with something. It could be the fact that he's ready to build with someone. And those things are really not that important in the grand scheme of things if you see a future with someone. So, and you see that
Hollywood it is.
No.
Well, Hollywood and the entertainment industry are the high value men that Kevin Samuels are talking about. Let's just be real. This nigga ain't talking about nobody at a Fortune 500 company. He's talking about LeBron and them.
I was wondering about that as well, but I couldn't say that because, like, I don't really know to say that's what he's talking about. But I don't really think that that's what most women are looking for. Okay,
Are you keeping it real, Dr. Jefferson?
I really don't. I hope not.
You know, women are looking for the bag. Are you keeping it real?
I'm being honest. Okay, so the women who are looking for money, right? They're not a most women.
They're not who?
They're not a most women representation.
Yeah, they are. I don't know one woman that wants a broke man. They're the majority. Like nobody wants a broke man, so they actually want the bag.
I wish I could get this to where this guy's name was not being shown, but
somebody's backstage. I heard the beep.
Oh yeah, I got that. I'm just trying to do this.
George Hendricks asked a question.
Oh my God! Why you gotta read his name out though? Like, why are you?
Because I'm sorry, you got it up there. I thought I was helping you out. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Jeez,
you're terrible. Okay, so I'm gonna add you to the stream, Rush, and can you see him? I can't see anything now.
Yeah, he got to click on the comment so it can go down, and you'll be able to see him. Click on his last comment.
All right.
You fighting COVID today, aren't you, sir?
I sure is.
So
yeah, I'm the dude that put up the comment, yeah, man. And yeah, man, pretty much, the cleanup dude is the dude that's taking responsibility that's not his, which is taking care of his significant other child, which is not his. And I don't recommend no dude to do that, you know what I mean?
Okay. So my first question, right?
Mm-hmm.
What responsibilities, if any, do you think that the man is tethering himself to a new woman in a relationship?
Man, so much. If they live together for a certain amount of years, he'll be stuck paying the alimony. On top of that, child support for a kid that's not even his. That's why I don't recommend dudes to play the cleanup guy, especially if you have value. But any high value male wouldn't take that out like that because he knows his worth.
So which part is the loss for you? Like, what are you seeing as the loss when you think about mistakes of the woman?
Everything. From a moral standpoint, she done been ran through, you know what I mean? And then you're taking care of something that's not even yours. You're just taking the L all across the board, you know what I mean?
Okay. That's interesting. So what are you using? What for you are the indicators that he's taking a loss per se?
As taking care of another man's child.
Okay. All right. And you mentioned that she had been run through, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, no guy's gonna tell you this, give you the raw truth, because chances are he's trying to sleep with you. Mm-hmm. But any guy that sees a chick with kids, he's gonna look at him as an easy target. You know what I mean?
Because the woman has a child?
Yeah, because she's sexually active.
Rush, I'm not sure about that because I don't think I could fuck Kim Kardashian or Black China and they got kids.
Right. Like so there are some women, and I know like in America that's a really huge thing, cycling sexual partners and things like that. But there are a lot of most cultures of women don't believe in having sex unless they're tethered to a relationship, and so therefore married. And it's a lot of women who are single women with children
Not the
and
thought.
not
We in a new age, man. We in a new age. You know what I mean?
no even
Promiscuous it's what's in now, and
yeah,
that's
but
what a lot of chicks is practicing right now.
so I'm not saying that that's not something that a lot of women are practicing right now. But what I'm getting to, if you let me get there just a second. So some women, right, they only have kids by the people they've been married to, and they're having children. That in and of itself, that means that she's been run through.
Not that doesn't happen in the black community, ma'am. You know this.
Lots of black women I know.
It's
Yo, this is what God's
only
thinking, man.
24% of black women are married. They are not the majority.
Now are married. So when your husband
I'm
dies,
talking about single mothers. I'm not talking about women that's married.
Yes, because
I'm
single
talking about
mothers is
single
an
mothers.
epidemic.
so that's what I'm saying. So when your husband dies, you're still a single mother. You're not.
That's different. That's
What about baby
something totally
daddy?
different.
We
Yeah,
ain't
man.
talking about the husbands. We talking about baby daddy because only 24%
I'm talking
of
about
black
single
women get married.
mothers. You know what I mean?
They are single mothers though. You don't think that
I
those
don't count that. I don't count
No,
that as
they're
a single
widowed.
mother.
They're widowed. They're in a different tax bracket.
I see. Okay. So now I'm getting a better
They got the estate and all the other stuff that comes with being married. A baby mama don't.
okay. But so what's the difference? In her, she still got her kids.
The
You
difference is one
kids.
chick she's sleeping around, right?
Uh-huh.
Just getting pumped and dumped, and she's having crazy abortions because she don't want the responsibility. And the other one does it in a moral standpoint where she does it the right thing. She vets out the dude and marries the dude, and they build a family together.
Well, me and I'll be personal with mine. In my case, if I did not have life insurance with enough money to split up between 4 kids, then the baby mamas would be fighting over my social security.
It's good.
That's the difference.
That's a good way of summing it up. That's a good way of sum. What about a will and assets?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If I hadn't have done all of this, these 4 women would be fighting over just one social security check. But when you're a wife, you already have the will and all of that stuff already set in.
Mm-hmm. But so you don't think that the man that woman is now going to tether herself, or the one that he's talking about is going to be losing because the woman, she still does have kids, so those kids still need to be provided for. So you don't think that it's going to still be an essential function of?
Are we talking about a baby mama or a wife?
She's not a wife anymore. She's a single woman because she's widowed.
Okay, well, I mean, hopefully enough, like between the will and the insurance policy in the state, she has enough money to keep forward with the kids.
So you feel like a high valued man. I don't know. I'm curious as to what they look like, but you feel like,
I don't know what they look like. I think
you feel like
the
this.
only high value men I know
Mhm.
that are like, I guess, would fit Kevin Samuel standards are NBA players. I know a couple of them. That's it.
I think
Oh,
Kevin,
and Tommy Sotomayor, shout out to him. He's a high value man.
stop the madness. I will not have you promote Tommy
Man, he's a high.
on
Okay.
my platform. Can't do it.
So where are we gonna have this debate on him?
Somewhere I'm at some point, but I gotta
Yeah,
go in and watch some recent things. I haven't heard from that dude from before he started to really blow up. So
Oh well, I did an interview with him. You should check it out. I'm gonna do some research and tell you exactly which episode it is in a second. Go ahead, do your thing, guy.
but yeah, so my thing is that Kevin Samuels states like a dude making high in the 5 figures and into the 6 figures as a high value man. A man's money, right, is not something that is the only thing that makes him a value. The content of a person's character, I have to keep going back to that because that's what's most important to a woman who is looking for stability in life, right? She's looking to get married to a man of her equal when it comes to emotional maturation. Financial wealth and physical wealth is a part of the process, but his emotional and spiritual wealth are essential to the relationship lasting for a long period of time. So a high value man is a man who is sync in all categories, and sync in all categories of life. The value of your money means nothing to a woman that is really of value. That's just the reality, because that's a part of your responsibility to yourself, not only other people, but to yourself first. You have to be able to financially support yourself, the things you're responsible for first. So if she's looking to submit to a man, be with a man, and trust him to guide and lead her and her children and other kids that you guys may have together, it's because she trusts that you know enough about life to survive in this thing, you know? So the value of a person, I think the only part that Kevin Samuels definitely is doing right now is that he's taking a moment back and he's allowing people to really get to know where he's coming from. He's giving these very abrasive reviews of people.
The only problem I have with him is that he's been giving out homosexual Easter eggs, and that's where I draw the line. But I don't mind his approach, because nobody criticizes the judge's approach, nobody criticizes the coach's approach, nobody criticizes a number of people's approach.
So when you say
pastor talks harsh to you sometimes, he don't always come with love. Jesus, even in the temple, got angry and kicked some shit over.
But when you say approach, what do you think it is that most people have a problem with when it comes to Kevin Samuels?
I think they have a problem that a man is telling a woman that they're wrong. The same thing that I and several other black men that decide to say, hey, black women, we're on your side, but y'all doing some fucked up shit. We get shut down. I think women were behind the whole Kevin Samuels is gay thing.
Yeah, I heard that, but I don't think he's gay. That would be bisexual, because he's been seen dating women, right? So
you have not seen that man out with a woman. I will not let you defend this man.
Yes,
you've seen him interview a woman. You ain't seen him on no date. Ain't no woman came out and said, I used to do it with Kevin. Women talk.
I've seen him on a date.
Was it on his show?
You're gonna wait line. Whoever next, you gotta wait till they're done.
They were taking pictures or doing video or something, so I'm sure he aired it or put it somewhere. But I saw him physically with my own eyes. With
the don't like women. You heard it here first. She don't like women.
Well, she was a woman. She was a young girl, you know. But she was a woman.
You gotta cover your tracks.
I don't know, but I did see that Tanya TKO did something to the effect of revealing where he had a man sleeping in his bed. That's his business. I feel like this is how I feel about content creators. I feel like the moment you have to discredit the next creator in order for you to build your platform is the moment that you lose credibility with me, because I think that whatever your point is, it should be just as valid without you having to tear down the next person in order for you to build your platform.
Yep.
That's just how I am as a person, right? So I don't put down the opinions and the thoughts and the reflections of other practitioners, because I know that there are some biases that lead to our judgments in clinical sciences, right? And also in our personal views on the things that we do professionally and outside of our profession. So I don't judge them, because at the end of the day, they're going to do what they're going to do. You know,
I told you I'm here to judge, man. Judging people helps me save my life, and it keeps me out of awkward situations.
Well, I'm not saying don't judge at all. I'm talking about I'm not gonna judge or compare their way of life to mine, which is what I was saying about the young lady earlier. I don't compare. She kept saying, you always say these things because you got it all together. Your life has always had it all together, and this, that, and the third. That's not why I'm saying these things. I'm saying these things because we're talking about you and not me. Saying these things, you need to get your life together, because no man, even this young man, is saying that no man wants to pick up the pieces from another man's situation.
Russ know he would have sex with Kim Kardashian right now with all her 3 kids. You have Beyonce. You have sex with Beyonce with all her kids. It just depends on the caliber of woman. You
So
ain't gonna maybe she works at Burger King. You ain't gonna talk to her, but Beyonce with the same amount of kids, you smashing. You can shop that too.
yeah, anybody will have sex with a person, but whether or not you will make that person your wife is a whole different
He
conversation.
would.
So if you're going,
No, you bugging.
So
so
you would not wife Beyonce right now
Hell
if she was
no.
like, Rush, me and Jay-Z
Nope.
done broke up.
Nope.
So
okay,
you're not keeping it real.
but no, he's probably keeping it very real because the reality is this: if you wife Beyonce, that means you got to have Jay-Z money.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
I just have to have enough
Actually,
game and
manager.
great dick to keep Beyonce pleased.
the problem. That's the problem. So the same thing with this young lady and with women in society. That's why I feel like Kevin Samuels has a definite need to be a part of every single woman and man's conversation, at least one of his shows, right?
Keep it to the women. Keep it to the women. He has great advice for women. Men, I don't want to hear from
Both.
him.
I think both. I have not seen enough of his content with men to say how to judge. I've seen about 3 videos, and I'm a person that can't stomach the entirety of any of his shows. But I will say this much. There is a need for that because that abrasiveness, that approach that he has is an approach that will help people become the best versions of themselves. So essentially, if we're thinking about this and we're looking at it from a pragmatic stance, what's necessary is for somebody to be honest with people when people lack the ability to be authentic with themselves. So Kevin Samuels is speaking to the women who calls into his show. I don't have any quarrels with this man until they start to interfere in the type of work that I'm doing. So when these young ladies start to show up in the ER and they're suicidal, and I have to take on a tremendous amount of suicidal patients because they're having to abruptly face their reality, and that reality isn't so pretty because some dude on a YouTube channel said that they were a 3, right? So that would make it a problem for me because I feel like
they chose to go get that abuse.
I'm totally with that. I'm 100% about accountability. I said that at the beginning. But even when a person is calling into your show, you have to at least prepare them. And I hear him say some things like, oh, now we're going to take it here. Oh, we're going to do this. But you have to prepare them for the fact that you might be about to take it there and ask them if that's what they want, right? And just get them off the line. You're embarrassing them because these people are still living a delusion because they've dissociated from their reality. That's what happens with people. When life doesn't yield the type of outcome that you're looking for, you dissociate from life in general. And, you try to make up this facade because the facade helps you to be able to, sit with self more comfortably. Be okay with looking at yourself and look at what life you've yielded or built for yourself and the family that you're responsible for providing for. It helps you to be able to look at yourself through a positive lens when all you see is undesired outcomes. That's what happens for people. So while they're in that fluff, you have to sometimes prepare them for gentle exposure, not just throw them out here to the wolves. Like, even if people make mistakes, like lots of people make mistakes and get on drugs, hardcore drugs, because they thought they were ready for work, right?
Dr. Jefferson, you know my response to that? You know my response to that?
What?
Their mamas were abrasive. Their mamas didn't take it light on them. Why should the world?
No. The reason they're in the circumstances that they're in is because the mothers and the fathers were not abrasive enough, or the fathers were absent altogether. And so the reality is Black people in the Black community have to realize that trauma is real. Attachment trauma is real. It manifests not only in your body and your mind, but also it manifests in your behaviors. It manifests in your perception of the world around you and yourself. And so if you want to heal, there are some truths, undeniable truths that you have to be willing to accept in order for you to grow into a space of maturation. So Kevin Samuels is the person that is typically here to render that type of perspective shift for people, most people anyway. So we're going to look at this and we're going to talk about how this plays in to today's discussion. Also, for you guys that are coming in on the back end of this, don't forget to hit the like and the share button with people that are around you in your network. They may not be connected to my network. I am Dr. Jefferson. If you're first time on here viewing this content, and this is Life Discussions with Dr. Jefferson. Trey, introduce yourself and let them know where they can find you.
Yes, I am MoneyBoy Trey. You can find me as listed on my avatar down there. And for you people on Facebook watching Dr. Jefferson, y'all got to come over to YouTube and subscribe to her channel, because next month, that's the only place you can see her going live. Luckily, I got all my notifications on because you didn't send me the link, ma'am.
I did.
You're a bit salty. You did not.
I did. I sent it.
Let me see before I misspeak.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I totally sent it. And it's in the chat.
No, you didn't send it to me, ma'am.
I totally sent it.
Check Facebook Messenger. No, you did not.
Oh, yeah. You're right. It didn't go through.
See?
You're right. That's why I posted it in the thing, in the chat thingy.
You will learn I have like a photographic memory.
Well, I'm not all that great at, and for those of you who are watching, just know that I'm really trying to learn how to use this thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of work on the background. But so I'm even learning how to do the share screen. So shout out to the person who originally posted this and copied it from the site that they copied it from, or the group that they copied it from. Also, shout out to Mario J. He gave me this content to present to you guys. I have a lot of feelings about this.
You might not want to watch my last video, ma'am.
Why?
Yeah, because it was about Mario J.
Why would you be on there talking about Mario? He's a great content creator.
If you want to watch the video, I explain why in there.
Okay. I'll go and I'll watch it.
Skip to like the 3-minute and 9-second mark, because I only talked for like 1 minute and 30 seconds. It was a chance for me to troll people, play on people's wanting to see drama, and try and got a promotional package. But I addressed him for like 1 minute, nothing major. He's weird. We'll find out.
Send me the link. Send me the link. I'll check it out. And I'll comment, because you're not about to be talking all bad about Mario, because Mario.
I haven't talked about him bad on your show. That's why I said you might not want to watch the last video. I don't have anything bad to say about him. I just told him to leave me alone.
I don't know what the beef is.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
You're toxic, though. I don't understand that.
I am. It's my brand. I'm a good kind of toxic, though. As abrasive as I am. Do I come off as abrasive?
Well, not to me, but people are definitely, they're different versions of themselves in different settings.
So you're saying I'm putting on a mask?
No, I'm saying that people are different in different settings. That's why when we assess the psychometrics of trying to understand diagnosis, we have to assess how you are with your friends, how you are with your mom, how you are with people in your environment that you work with. You understand what I'm saying? No.
Are you psychoanalyzing me, doctor?
No, I'm not. No, not at all.
I'm psychoanalyzing you.
Whatever.
Just fair warning.
Oh, well, good luck with that. A cleanup man also has to fix a lot of emotional and insecurity damage. Well, emotional insecurities kind of play into one another. And you are very, very right. And to be honest with you, this leads to toxic behavior in so many men, because they've been the person that has come into contact with a woman that bonded to them via their trauma versus bonding authentically through love and affect, right? And that's a whole separate cast. But that's definitely the work that I talk about women doing and men doing as well. You can't bond based on trauma, what they call trauma bonding. That means that you're telling your story of your trauma and you're sharing your experiences of your trauma with the particular person, instead of that person using it to give positive energy and help you build and help you heal. That person uses it to their benefit, and they manipulate the situation and make you feel lesser than, so that they can get what they want out of you. But you as a woman, you as a man have to value yourself higher than what you see out there and other people's value for you. And you have to value yourself enough to do the work to get to where you want to be. But you have to be very honest about where you actually are in order to go anywhere. And so I have to say that because that's definitely what happened in this young lady's case. That's why she's dating the same guy, just with a different face. When you have a 15-year span and you won't talk to your father, right? And you have a 15-year span of dating men who are unacceptable according to your father, you have to ask yourself some real questions. Okay, I'm just going to leave that out there for those in the back that didn't hear it the first time. But so we're going to get into reading this content. So he says, yesterday a woman told me that women don't have kids just to have bastard babies. Somebody from my culture. Here we have a rapper, Chief Keef. I had no idea who this person is prior to now, and I am using this content based on the internet's fair use distribution of content rules. Okay, so I'm just gonna say that I don't know this guy, Chief Keef, who has 9 kids by 9 women. Is that your brother, Trey?
Ma'am, I have 4 kids. He has surpassed me.
Right. I'm saying, is that where you're trying to go with it?
No, I'm even kicking myself in the behind now for having a 2-year-old.
Really? Well, kids are a blessing. You never know. She might be the president or he.
I'm getting old and I ain't got time to be chasing around no 2-year-old. It's caught up with me already. Got
to stop smoking. Yeah. Might help you. Give you a couple of years back, maybe 20 or so.
But White Jesus ain't done with me yet.
The oldest woman being 45 years old. You heard right, 45 years old, and he put that in all caps. That's huge, right? So that means something for him. Let's go back to that. Make a note, side note that. This is why I hold women accountable more. So you're telling me each of these women saw a great father figure. They didn't know he sipped lean and was involved in crimes. They actually saw a husband in him.
They saw the bag in him. As I stated earlier, all women want the bag.
All women are very, 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 very overgeneralization.
95% of women.
This ain't even, no, it's not even 95%. Like, we're talking about 9 women.
Yeah, and they all knew this nigga was a rapper that wasn't shit.
So let's get into the points where I need to hold some women accountable. They didn't know he sipped lean and was involved in crimes. They actually saw him as a husband. His life is public. So now you have 5 women seeking child support when he is worth less than $1 million. They saw dollar signs. They didn't care if their child had a father in the home or not. A check is more important than having a father in the household. Prove me wrong. I'll wait. Wow.
I just said that without reading, dude.
Yeah, you did. So you guys share the same sentiments, huh?
Yes, ma'am. I kind of built my platform on blaming Black women for 95% of the fuck shit going on in our community.
That's interesting. So what are some of the things that you blame Black women for?
Anything that you can name, I can blame it on Black women.
Child support?
Black women.
Food stamp?
Black women.
Housing projects?
Can't blame that on Black women, but they wouldn't serve a need if Black women weren't having babies that they couldn't take care of.
Government.
Oh yes.
Look, these are whole other topics, so I'm not gonna really delve into it.
Write them down.
Just getting the context of where you're going here. That's all. I'm here for it.
I'm here to pod.
Okay. So what about the crime rate in the Black community?
Black women. I mean, Black women can call anybody and get a man touched. They can get you whooped. They can get you killed. They can get you told. They can get you messed up.
They can. So what about this young Black man? I know it made national news, so I'm pretty sure you should know about it. There was a young woman pregnant stabbed, dismembered in some way, because I was listening to his charges today, by a young man. He's black, and I think is he 19 or 20? 20? No, he's 30. His first crime that they were mentioning as far as his violent crimes were when he was 19. But so he's 30 years old now, and he stabbed her several times. She's pregnant, and so he's on trial for attempted murder, I'm guessing, violent assault, all that good stuff. But so they had his first hearing today for a bond, and he was denied because, you know, there was a lot of interesting things mentioned and not mentioned by his public defender. So his public defender said he had no violent history, and he had a whole rap sheet. That was disheartening. But
was it a juvenile? Was it a juvenile rap sheet though?
They bought up his juvenile rap sheet, but his adult rap sheet had a rap sheet.
Oh, well, his lawyer may have been trying to play incompetent to get him a new lawyer.
More than likely, that's the case. That's what I said, because she was fairly young. Looks like she's very much inexperienced, and she looked very nervous. You know, they kind of had the hearing live, and it was a whole mess. Poor man. Hope he gets somebody else immediately, because the 88 ate him up, and she didn't have to say much. But the reality is this, right? If you think that women are responsible for the vast majority of the atrocities that have happened to Black men, right? What level of accountability do you hold the men to?
The remaining 5% for not being responsible where they stuck their penises.
What about cases where those aren't mitigating factors?
Well, what number would you like to put on it? What percentage of the blame would you give men, and what percentage of the blame would you give women?
I don't think that I would give the blame to either.
We have to give blame to one party so that we can begin to address the problems.
Accountability and responsibility are two different things. It's really important to understand the difference in the two. And to answer your question, I think it's Nike or Neek. My doctor title is MD, not psychology. I mean, both are grad degrees, but yeah. But yeah, I don't think, I really just do not think responsibility is the same in the Black community when it comes to assigning the responsibility on the person for these types of things that I've named. And you said that women are responsible for them. I think the responsibility would be the people who are actually doing these things, because they have to not only be held accountable for what they do, but also responsible for the things they do to other people. So I think that with women, if you're holding them accountable for their role played in the other men's lives that commit these crimes, right? I think that you can definitely hold the women responsible equally for the role that they play in the manipulative component. However, there are a lot of pieces, a lot of moving pieces in this. When we look at this component, right? When you see somebody, this guy is 25 years old, having a child with someone that is 45 years old. If we just looked at the human brain and the way that it develops, right? And the level of maturation and how that develops in the brain over the course of time, the span of time. If we looked at just that, we would understand that the woman's brain matures at a rate of 15 years. There's a 15-year time span in between the maturation of a woman and a man already. That would make this woman at 45 like a super pedophile. If this kid was still at 9 and she would still be an adult, like there are so many levels of wrong to this. But what I'll say is this, Trey, to some extent, you do have a very valid point. These women are chasing a bag. They are chasing the money. Wherever the money is, maybe they're trying to get it. But if Kevin Samuels had intervened in these women's lives, especially the one that's 45 years old, that's something. You know, I would be interested to know how many other children she has. So I'd be interested to know what the dynamics of the relationship was. I'd be interested to even know her mental state, emotional state. What has happened in her life, and and things like that.
Was this guy light skinned?
Who, Chief Keef? I have no idea.
Oh no, do you still talking about Chief? No, I'm talking about the guy that stabbed the person. Chief Keef stabbed somebody?
No, the guy that stabbed the person is the black guy in America that, the black women are responsible for his behaviors that you just said. But Chief Keef is the 25-year-old. The black guy that stabbed the girl was a dark-skinned black man, 30 years old. I don't know how old she was, though. I know she's undergone several surgeries in the hospital as of this morning.
Yeah, these women.
I think that he's having some connection issues. So let's read Kelso's comment. MoneyBoy, you said a lot. Really, one question is for you. Is the mother of your kids is black, and how does she fit in that blame equation you have about black women? That's a really good question. And we didn't even get to that. But I'm sure when he comes back, he'll answer it. Is this a Baby Mamas in Black America episode? Not at all. But we were going down that rabbit hole of blame that MoneyBoy Trey feels that black women have for the things that black men do. So this is more so an episode about the validity that Kevin Samuels holds in Black America when it comes to the psyche and the perceptions of black people, women in general. I mean, I know that people talk about him also being quite abrasive with men, but it's really about the validity or the need for him in the black community when it comes to debunking or removing people from those delusional thoughts where they live in these spaces that they have created to protect the vulnerabilities and the harsh realities, right, of the world that they really live in.
I think that's a troll. But I would like to answer Kelso Brown's question.
Mm-hmm.
Kelso Brown, he said what? He said a lot. Really, one question for you is all four of the mothers of my kids are black. And how do they fit in the blame of that equation? They share the same percentage. Like, they watch me on YouTube, they hear me say this shit. Because then I always tell them, I say, I hate to sound like a dick, but I'm free to go wherever I want to, whenever I want to. Y'all don't have that luxury. That's one thing we should preach to women. Like, you're going to always be stuck with the kid no matter what. If the dad dies, if he runs off, whatever, you're going to be stuck with that child.
So I just want to kind of talk to a little bit of the single dad and single mom statistics for right now in Atlanta. I don't know what it's like everywhere else, but in the state of Georgia in general, not even just in Atlanta, in the state of Georgia, there is a fair amount of men that are being awarded custody of their children over the mothers because the mothers are not deemed to be fit in those situations. So there is an increasing number of black men in the single parent role.
Praise white Jesus for those men stepping up. But if those men didn't step up, the mom would be with that kid. And even a lot of times, it's a struggle for men to prove that a mom is unfit to even try to get custody of their kid.
In this society?
Yes. Man, crackheads still get their kids back. I can send you test case after test case on YouTube of women who have constantly lost their kids and get them back and brag about it.
Well, let's talk about that. That is because of attachment trauma and what we know about attachment trauma and human personality shaping, right? So here's the thing. If a person is taken from their adult parent caregiver and that person has been providing care for them, even in abusive situations for a length of time, and they have solidified their initial personality characteristics and traits and who they are, right, is attached to that person teaching them who and how to be with others in society. If we take that child from that parent caregiver, it causes more longitudinal trauma on that intrapsyche of that child, right, and their becoming. When their limbic system becomes less flexible due to the trauma, That's a result of what we did, right? If we took the kid. Now, the kid could stay with that parent or be reunified with that parent with additional services provided to the household. And that would be a more beneficial situation, because not only are we healing the trauma that led to the kids being taken away or removed from the home initially, or, DFACS being involved, Department of Family and Children's Services, but we're also healing the component of the system that needs attention, that lacks the resources necessary to survive, thrive, and build healthy personalities and outcomes for the child. So if we look at the whole picture, it's more beneficial to provide services within the realms of the home. So the men that have custody of their kids, though, that I'm referring to, are the men who have had custody of their kids from the beginning, because the quality of the women that are having children in those situations, when it comes to the quality of their psychiatric state of mind, their actual physical state of being, or their financial, means to be able to care for the child, and of course their social perspectives on that piece, it just plays to the betterment of the child being with the father versus the mom, because the father is more stable. He believes in working and providing for the kid, and he has the means to be able to do that. So the reality is, it's not that more Black men are stepping up. It's about the fact that they perceive their role or their responsibilities in the life of their child, in the woman's life, as something different than some of the men that you have decided to have in your company, right?
Ma'am, I know when I tried to be a stay-at-home dad, I was abused and taken advantage of, so that's hogwash.
No.
It's hogwash.
I'm just saying, so we consider to be normative what we expose ourselves to. So if we expose ourselves to the vast majority of your friends, when you look around.
I really think this is baby number 3. Stop giving her attention. This name seems really familiar. Stop giving her attention.
Okay. But she does have a valid point.
I don't care.
But
nothing that woman ever says is valid to me.
Why? Because of the trauma?
No, because I have a pending legal case and I can't talk about it until it's over. But when it's over, oh boy. I hope you show up, Nanika. I remember that name from about 8 years ago. Thanks for watching, though, baby mama number 3. You can feel free to hit the link.
How do you figure that that's baby mama number 3 anyway?
Well, if it's not, they'll keep talking. If they run away, then they're gone, because it's like, shit, the nigga remember. I don't forget shit.
All right, with your photographic memory. Okay, so let's go to some of the points, though, that she's making in that comment and how it relates to this particular post, right? In this particular post, I got to admit that that's what I'm going to say. And it also goes to what the young man said earlier about the fact that he's holding women responsible for having kids, and that there are mistakes made on the woman's part and that sort of thing. And that if a woman has children, she's less desirable and she poses more of a liability to a man, essentially, because the man has to step in and take care of the woman and, take over or clean up after the last guy's mistakes, or the woman's mistakes to be with the last guy. So here's the thing, right? A lot of time men value the fact that a lot of these young ladies at 30, 40s, whatever, don't have kids. The reality is a lot of them have had several abortions, right? And a lot of them are a lot more promiscuous in their encounters with men, with their sexual activities, with their sexual health. They're irresponsible. And so there are a couple of things here. I think that the reality is Kevin Samuels has a need, because he's the person that's being abrasive with women and holding them accountable for their actions and making them think like, you know what, maybe I need to make better choices. But also, I think that he's holding men accountable as well. And I feel like in having those conversations with some of these women that are not necessarily average at best, right? Some of these women that he is devaluing when they do have a tremendous amount of value, it makes the woman who's sitting out there making those very questionable decisions with her life and her body, it makes her reflect more as to how is this really beneficial to me in the long run? How long is my body going to hold up with these particular types of outcomes, with these particular types of actions, right? And I feel like if in these particular situations, right, these women all had the opportunity to have an abortion. And I am so anti-abortion. I have to be honest about that. They all had an equal opportunity to do that. And it's possible that every single woman he picked never believed in abortion. It's possible.
Especially if you're a rapper.
So let me be honest about this. I'm going to present my biases real quick, you guys. I have very little value for the music industry males that are rappers.
So what's in your playlist?
You said what?
What's in your playlist when you want to get crunk? I was listening to Drake Mob Ties earlier before I went in on Tough Love.
You're not going to talk about Mario?
I didn't. I said I was listening to Mob Ties to get me crunk. I'm asking what music gets you crunk. I'm not studying the guy.
DMX. If I had to listen to something, it'd be DMX. Or
which song?
Oh God. Up in Here.
Oh man, you like the radio cuts.
I have some rapper stuff, but I don't listen to that stuff. So I can't really recall it more so than I listen to more house music than anything. I'm a Sam Cooke, Otis Redding, Al Green, Marvin Gaye.
That's trap music. That's original trap music.
That's what I listen to, Aretha Franklin. So I mean, I listen to Eartha Kitt. I listen to a lot of stuff that's older music. I can't get, but I do feel like there are some credible rap artists, but these are just not it. So that's those are my biases. Okay, those.
So you can't get jiggy with Lil Uzi Vert and them.
I don't even know who that is, but with a name like that, I can guarantee you, I swipe. What's
put a 24 million diamond? A $24 million diamond in the middle of his forehead. That says it all.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't listen. No, I wouldn't. No. Mm-mm. But I will say this, okay? A lot of these women had the opportunity to get an abortion and they decided not to, regardless of what his activity in his life looked like. So I think that in that we have to ask ourselves something, ladies. Ladies, you have to have a person like Kevin Samuels out there to put you in check and let you know that maybe your worth isn't your worth because you live in a delusional world where you think that your actions are going to equate to you having a forever husband and raising kids that are going to be the president of the United States with the type of behavior that you're currently indulging in. That's the problem that I have with the vast majority of women who are vetting my services to try and date even. You have to position yourself in a certain fashion, in a certain way in order to achieve certain outcomes. And it goes back to like the old school thing. I know a lot of people are very angry with Monique, but Kevin Samuels isn't the only one, right? Monique is now holding more women accountable too. I think that this generation, as the young lady that I read her post the other day, Gen Z girl, the way that she puts it, they're a generation of young women who wants to live life the way that they want to live life, but they still want to expect the same of success. I'm 100% for people doing whatever it is they need to do to accomplish the goals that they see they want to accomplish or they're interested in accomplishing in life. But I think that you have to be pragmatic. Not everybody can be a rapper. So that's why I say that thing about the rappers. Not everybody can be a rapper, and becoming a musician, right? It takes time. It takes effort. It takes money. It takes dedication that most people don't have. And I ask people this: if you won't dedicate yourself to finding your outcomes in life important enough for you to plan out, right? What makes you think you're going to, push for that album that you've not seen any money from yet? What makes you think you're going to invest all your money in that, but you haven't seen the
For
fruits?
Kwame Brown.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Even Kwame Brown, he had a particular job to do in the industry,
and he sucked at his job. He was below average at best.
I'm not going to talk about that guy because
we're clout chasing. This guy is famous. He has 400,000 subs. He is a high value YouTube man.
I don't care. I don't play basketball, so I can't talk about how difficult that must be for him. But
you bought a ticket and went to a game. Who's your favorite
player? Never. Now,
you know sports?
Football, yeah, I'm into football and hockey. Not at all into basketball. That's the least.
What do they call it when you score 3 goals in hockey?
I don't know. I look at the men in hockey because they look good going down.
It's a hat trick, ma'am. So you're not even a fan. You just go there to lust.
I'm a fan of the sport of hockey.
You're a fan of the rugged beards and white guys?
There you go. The same thing with football, except I can really get into football more so than I can to hockey because it's kind of cooler, you know, where you sit when you're watching. So then you're really trying to bundle up because it's cold. I don't know. But I'm still there for the bods, for the butts, to see how, you know, everything is. Hey, I'm a woman. What can I say?
You're there for the bag.
Oh God, no, definitely wouldn't date one.
Why not? You enjoy the sport. Why wouldn't you be a hockey wife?
What? Do discuss my last comment? I just did discuss your comment.
That's why I said I think that's a troll.
I did. I don't remember which one you say, man, we beat him up all night. You're talking about Kwame Brown? We're not going to talk about him. Because like I can't play basketball. I would not watch it if somebody put it on the TV and it was the last thing to watch. I wouldn't watch it if it was the only thing in the world to watch and I really, really needed something to entertain me because I wouldn't be entertained. I'm not there for it.
I'm gonna need you to go to a Hawks game, ma'am.
No, thank you. Not into it. No,
But you have to try new things, doctor.
Oh yeah, but not that.
Why not? What are you scared of?
I'm just not into it.
What could happen? You have fun?
No. You know, my new thing that I tried was baseball, and it was really long. Basketball is just people running back and forth on a court, and I'm disinterested the entire time.
That's what football and hockey is, except for they're skating. They're not running, but they're skating back and forth.
No, but it's a slower process. So
unless you got a running back that can break a 99-yard touchdown.
That's the thing. That's what makes that so entertaining because it's like, man, that was a quick score, right? But no, that's not the point. I feel like with basketball, the entire time it's just too much energy and too much screeching noises and stuff in the court and so much echoes and things like that. It's just way too much going on for me.
You strike me as a Cowboys fan.
Ew. That's
all right. You said you're all right with me.
So, yeah, no. But I'm a Patriots fan. Lots of people don't like the Patriots, but I'm there for it.
And you were a Patriots fan since when?
Since 90.
You trying to go with the first
90.
Oh, so you got there 3 years before they won their first championship.
It may have been a little bit. I was there the last 2 years that Drew Bledsoe played, and then Tom Brady kind of took over that first game when he got hurt.
You may get a pass.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I really just liked their colors initially, and then I liked the guys in the tights, and it was a coming to America thing.
I guess that's why they won their first Super Bowl, because 9/11 happened. And what way to celebrate America coming together than the Patriots winning the Super Bowl?
You're sad. Get back to this topic, okay? What you're not going to do is go off of this. So let's talk about this. I want to know you guys' comments on the magnitude of responsibility and accountability these women who have children by this guy have. I really do. I want you to tell me what you think Kevin Samuels, Mr. Average at Best, and I haven't seen this guy or his children's mothers. And the other piece to this I want to say is that we can't necessarily attest to the quality of the woman just because she made a mistake, if that's a one night mistake.
It's a mistake that could have damaging repercussions on the rest of your life.
But you can't make those assumptions. That's what I'm saying.
It's a costly mistake. It's life altering. So we have to warn people that this is a life altering mistake that you may embark on. It's a mistake, but it's gonna cost you.
Cost somebody. And so I'm curious, as the person who posted this, and then also other people, I'm curious as to whether or not child support is actually actively being sought out for this young man. Like, I'm curious about that, and because I don't know.
Google him right quick. Chief keep child support. I bet all 9 of them after him.
Stop. I want to know that, and I want to know what you guys think about the women. Like, what type of women do you think would go after a guy?
Black women.
That is just so biased.
I agree. I'm biased. It saves my life, but it's the truth. You said you're a Patriots fan, right?
Right.
They sucked last year, did they not?
Terribly.
Even though you love them,
mm-hmm.
you can say that they sucked. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. It was disheartening to watch. I probably cried by the third game.
Rosita and them be married. Most Beckys be married. Most Asians be married. It's only us that just decide, we'll have 4 kids and never we won't even try to get married.
So do you think it's a culture thing, or do you think it's
absolutely culture?
Okay, so what do you think about the culture of Black America?
It's trash right now. I don't know what happened in between the 50s and the 60s where we had strong family units in our own communities, even though they were segregated. But somewhere along the way, we lost our way.
So I'll clear that up for you. Segregation wasn't a bad thing for the Black community. It was actually a prosperity thing. It was about the Black community trying to get themselves together so that they could have everything to offer to their community likelihood, right? Other Black people. And so they could separate themselves and build their wealth in a country that at one time disbarred them from the fruits of the labor that they were so much building. That's the first part. The second part is you asked the question of what happened to the Black community as far as cultural components. The culture declined when government assistant from your Democratic Party decided to step in and make public assistance a thing, food stamps a thing. When people
Can you pause it? And who took all of those things that the government asked?
The Black women. I will say that.
95% of the problem.
So I'm not saying that is not an issue. What I'm saying is they cannot be held responsible for a movement that led to them being inadequately conditioned to receive the things that they were meant to have. Okay?
I was born in the crack era. I didn't choose to sell crack, so they can be blamed for it.
Well, wait, let me say this. They were meant to have husbands. They were meant to be a continuation of what their ancestors stood for, their grandparents, but they hated the life. A lot of women hated the life that their grandmothers lived so much that it did exactly what it is that you find yourself doing unknowingly. You want to do the absolute opposite of what you've seen. And so that was the first era that to me mimics what we're seeing in the Gen Z women. So they wanted to be something opposite. So that means that the dress code, the value in how they look when they stepped outside of the home and what it meant to be presentable, a representative of their family system, what it meant for them to be that picture, the epitome of greatness, of Black wealth, right? That started to devaluize. And so these people started to have kids, but they were definitely in the street. And this happened in the 80s. The 70s to the 80s is when this really took on its face, its true face. That left the grandparents with the responsibility of, raising the kids. As a result, the grandparents would sometimes be extremely angry with their, children for the lack of their oversight of their kids and things like that. And so they felt like they were entitled to all and raise the kids with that same level of resentment energy they had for the parents. That led to very, very harsh disciplinary practices. And of course, then in the 80s, we also saw the child abuse laws be a prominent thing that kind of took ground. And now it's in the schools, and Black kids now feel like they have power where their grandparents are raising them and whipping them. And they felt like that was, a remnant of slavery, which it wasn't. It was just the way that they felt like effective means of discipline should happen if it's on a physical scale. And it definitely whipped them a line, but it caused trauma in the process. So as a result of all of those things that have spiraled into place, we now have children who are repeating the deeds and the actions, behaviors and perceptions of their ancestors without even knowing, because right there is when the culture was lost, because the grandparents were too busy being resentful. And during that 70s and 80s spick, right, of their kids, that they could no longer cultivate because they felt like it was inadequate. The cultivation of the mind was something that had, basically declined in value. So why even tell them what they're meant to be, how they're meant to look, what they're meant to do? They're not going to listen anyway. They're going to be just like their parents. So that led to
war with the elders.
Do what?
That's why I'm at war with the elders.
I mean, it is what it is. I feel like a lot of folks that are definitely in my peer generation have to now take accountability for some of the mistakes that they made, males and females alike. I think that's an accountability that probably won't come into its full fruition because people are dying at alarming rates right now. So I have to say this as I conclude this video. I want you guys to look at what substance of a woman really means, what substance of a man really means. We had somebody got on here to come on here and say that a high value man looked like something, right? Is that what you agree with? Do you feel like the value of a man lies within his finances? Do you feel like the value of a woman lies within her amount of kids that she's responsible for taking care of? How do you view the value of your position, whether you're Black, white, Latino, Asian, whatever? How do you value yourself? How do you look at the content of your character? What is your rating for yourself? One of the things that Kevin Samuels recently said in an interview with this guy, Vlad TV. I don't know how many of you watch that, but I just happened to see it. One of the things that he said the other day, right? I know Vlad didn't bring up the direct comment, but my direct comment was this. Kevin Samuels has a lot of ideologies that align with the negative connotation of image, right, for women in these days. Women go and they have plastic surgery to look like the people that they
think that we care about, because when we tell them what we like, they do the opposite.
Well, no, they get all of this plastic surgery to look like the people that they disrespect the most, and those are transsexual women. Ooh. And they are, a lot of women in this Gen Z are in competition with transsexual women.
Black women are.
Yeah, that's the reality. But not only Black women, white women too.
We kind of can see the white man in a dress talking about call me ma'am and no. You can't tell with a lot of these Black women. They look like every old tranny or gay dude running up and down the street in the wig.
That's what I'm saying. So we have to ask the questions, has our society failed the culture of Black people? Have we failed the culture of Black people on the outset? Have we failed our future? Because the reality is this. the woman is now in competition with a man woman, a man person born a man, and it's now a woman, right? But also and very much in competition with herself. Her own self-image is what she's really at war with. And so my thing is this: whatever happened to hard work, achieving the body that you want? You know, if you want to gain weight, eat the right foods, take the right supplements. If you want to lose weight, eat the right foods, take the right supplements, implement certain exercises. If you want to tighten and tone, do the right exercises, eat the right foods, take the right supplements. Whatever happened to that as a way of life and becoming? And now these women want to run to the doctor and get these things modified, and you still end up being the same. And then when you have your kids and you still have those genetic predispositions that are handed out to your children, what do you tell those men then? So the question asked to Kevin Samuels was, how did he feel about the women who are doing all of this plastic surgery? This is the man who has put inside of so many of these young women's heads that they need to lose weight drastically to now draw the attention of the man that they want, right?
He said that pointing out he's gay though, so he really doesn't. He made white women. He's not attracted to them. So
him on a date with a woman. There are some. I think there are some questions there though.
Do we need to hire a private detective to find out? Y'all in the same city.
I have seen the man on a date with a woman.
I think publicity stunts, ma'am.
Well,
I saw Dennis Rodman on date with Carmen Electra and them too, but this nigga still wore a wedding dress.
So I don't think he is gay. That's what I'm saying. I think that maybe he's bisexual.
No, whatever. It's still a touch of gay in there, ma'am. Bisexual, gay, whatever you want to call it. He's still taking penis. He enjoys it. He calls it gelato.
Done.
This is just what the man said. The man called himself a country girl and said he country bougie.
So only women can be bougie?
No, but only women can say I'm a country girl.
I don't think you said country girl. I think
Tasha K said I'm a country girl. He said, believe it or not, me too. I'm country bougie. I made a video of that too. I'm here for content, so I just post all types of stuff. I chopped that video up and looped it a couple times so it wouldn't be any question. And there was still people coming on there talking about he misspoke. I said, so why didn't the nigga clean it up?
Well, I don't think he was calling himself a country woman. I think he was saying that he's also from the country. He can identify.
He said, me too. I'm a country girl. Well, he had every opportunity to clean that up. He doubled down and said, I'm country bougie.
That's a classic listening to it respond instead of listening to understand the response.
Maybe you're right, Dr. Jefferson. But again, I'm here to pod, so that's what I do. It's salacious a little bit. I'm like the National Enquirer.
You cannot go and shame that guy from saying that. I say that there are some questions there just simply because I know that Tanya K put out some content of him having some issues with his cameras, and there was a man in his bed. That's it.
Yes, he was having gelato, as he calls it. I'm not shaming him. I will not tell women to stop listening to him. I will still send women to him. I just personally do not listen to him anymore, but you admit that you've gotten some grand content as a man.
Yeah,
I watched him. I wasn't like an avid person, but I watched him for maybe like a month after I heard all of the hubbub about him. Because initially, when I heard him talking about high value men without me ever hearing him talk, I was like, well, hold up. Is he shitting on like blue collar men or men that aren't so-called high value? And that was my beef with him. And then when I watched him, I found out he was actually saying, no, blue collar men are who more of you women need to date instead of having these high aspirations of trying to get you a baller.
Well, I think that's why I say there is a necessity for him, because I think he's just looking at the pragmatic of the schema. So the outcome, if you really look at it, right, there are not a whole lot of folks out there that are single and available and making like billions and billions of dollars. Okay, it's very easy to find a person that makes six figures. Like, they're all around you. It's not hard to make six figures. Good grief.
Well, according to him, it's only 10% of the population of black men that make this.
That's because I don't know what he's looking at as far as his stats, but there are a lot of black men who identify with the black community, but they're not 100% black, so they may check
We don't want those mutts.
Yeah.
They're not black.
That is just so disrespectful.
It's true, ma'am. If they're not 100% black, how we just gonna take them and they got other stuff in them? We just gonna ignore the other stuff?
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you can identify with the black community, if you want to, if you're melanated of origin in any way.
Well, doctor, don't you think that's how us in the black community are infiltrated so easily?
What do you mean infiltrated?
We let anybody who's light skinned in. We let anybody that says, we got Rachel Dolezal because niggas wanted to say, oh, she black. We got Sean King because niggas want to say, oh, he got a John B haircut, he black. This man clearly white as hell, and we just say, oh, he's black. Meghan Markle, we just say she's black. Kamala Harris, oh, she's black. We just ignore the other half. Barack Obama, these people are mixed.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. They identify with the black community. If you have a black mother, then you're black. I have a black mother. I identify with the black community.
Can I identify as a millionaire? My great-great-great-grandmother was white. Can I identify as a white person? I can't. This is crazy. We're feeding into these people's delusions.
No, your direct lineage. So your father and your mother definitely are huge components to your cultural identity and your racial identity. So if you have two parents that are two different races, then yeah.
But they can still identify as black though, even though they're mixed.
Black, multiracial, black, biracial, whatever.
See, that type of thinking feeds right into line with the LGBT alphabet stuff. You can just identify with whatever you want to, even though
I don't what you are. That's different because we're talking about your direct composition. If your parents are two different cultures or two different races, then of course you can identify with both. You don't have to be singularly one. But when you're talking about looking at the dynamics of people who are successful in life, I think oftentimes Kevin Samuels is only looking at black men that are in the black community that have only a single parent identity. And they're only identifying as black because the black mother is all they got. And I think that does an injustice for the black community. I think if you look at the black community as a whole, black and brown people look like a lot of different ways. They're light skin, dark skin, in between. I think that we have to give people their authenticity to be them. And even LGBTQIA plus community, I think even with those people, we have to allow them to identify as they will. I just think that, like I said in my other video, things are becoming a little bit more complex because now you're talking about sexual orientation and gender being one and synonymous, and they're not. So I think that that's the part that you've got to start having a little bit more separatism and say, okay, these people are alternative lifestylers because of their sexual orientation and what they've selected to do with their lives as far as like those choices. But and they could be, because LGBTQIA people are definitely a part of alternative lifestyle because they're not pop Western culture. But you got to understand the difference in gender and sexuality. And you cannot intermix the two when we're talking about the identity of people.
Dr. Jefferson, if he was born a man, I'm going to call that nigga Stan.
Okay, but if before you that person now has a vagina and breast and
I'm not looking that hard at that nigga. If I see an Adam's apple and a strong jawbone, you're Adam.
So no Adam's apple, no strong jawbone, just absolutely beautiful woman.
See, that's why that guy killed a tranny the other day that was playing for Virginia Tech.
No,
they're out here tricking people.
No, it's not them tricking people. They're giving you what you want. If you are a man out there, I have to keep saying this. If you are a man out there and you're really expecting a woman to look like boom, bam, boom, when she's over 40 years old or whatever.
Ma'am,
and
black don't crack unless you smoking crack.
But that's what I'm saying. If you're expecting all women to look a certain way, if you're expecting all women to be this picture, this Barbie doll, then you're definitely going to run into a trans woman.
Yeah, I expect all white women to age terribly by 35. By 28, I expect all Hispanic women to be shaped like a Frigidaire. And black women, man, you
Wow.
never know what you get with those. I just expect them. It's just different stuff. But black women, yeah, they
It's a
keep
lot of
themselves
surgery.
up.
It's a lot of surgery. That's the reality. And so the reality is this. I
You
think
think
that
Angela Bassett has had surgery?
I know she has.
Tina Turner,
Yeah.
Tracy Ellis Ross,
No, Tracy hasn't had it. Well,
she
no,
fine.
that's not considered surgery. Well, sometimes it can be considered surgery. I mean, a lot of women in Hollywood have had surgeries. A lot of them, the vast majority of them have. Um, Angela
What type
is
of surgery
beautiful.
though? Facelift surgery, nose job, or what
Yeah,
kind of surgery you talking
like
about?
most of them have had body shaping, body contouring surgeries. You know, things to tighten up things as they become looser and flabbier. Facial lifts, the facelifts,
Um,
the Botox injections. Those are the most common ones of the people that you named.
I
Um,
am not going to
Tommy
let you ruin
Tucks.
my Tina Turner fantasy. You're not gonna do it, or my Angela Bassett one.
I'm just saying, you know, they talk about these things on their own too. I mean, but this is not some. Those are what most people call like minor surgeries. But we're talking about fat transfers and all this extra stuff, and you look like a whole different person. I think that then you got to start asking the questions about the insecurities of people and whether or not Western culture has normalized insecurities of image. And so, if we're going to do a better job at holding people accountable for their actions, especially women in situations like this, selecting to have a child by a 25-year-old boy and you're 45 years old, I think that we also have to hold men accountable that are in her acceptable age, you know, of dating to the crazy delusional thoughts that they have when it comes to the expectations of the women, right? And so it will remove them from going out here searching for boys. It just will, because they'll mature in a different way. They'll want to be with a man. Because the man will be more desirable in his maturation. I think that a lot of men are not mature because they have so many traumas, like the ones that you mentioned, from their parents, from their grandparents, from their interactions from their previous marriages. And by the time they become grown men and they're autonomous men, they're so traumatized that the trauma is a part of their autonomy as well. So they're so damaged, the women no longer want them when they're in their 50s and 60s. That's not attractive. The same way that men are coming on here saying no man wants to be the cleanup man and clean up the atrocities and the trauma and all of this stuff of the last man's leftovers being, you know, a huge impact on that woman's emotional security, right? Women feel that way about men. I think in the Black community, there is a tremendous amount of trauma that happens between the two. And that's typically what creates bonds that lead to these atrocious types of behaviors where toxic masculinity and toxic femininity present.
Hey, that's my brand.
There are, yeah, but it's still a very negative connotation when it comes to the perceptions of how they fit into the grand scheme of healing for the Black community.
Do
Toxic
you say me and
masculinity is
my
the thing.
brand is toxic?
Yeah, it is. It is. But
Oh,
and to be honest with you, what you just said, all the things that you mentioned about your quarrels with women and blaming them, that is literally what shapes toxic masculinity. The same thing on the opposite end of the spectrum is what shapes toxic femininity, because women are so angry at men for not stepping up and doing the things that they feel like men should be doing, like taking care of the home, not forcing them to put, you know, the person on child support, taking care of the kids, taking care of them, providing for them. You know what I'm saying? They're blaming the man for not doing these things, but the reality is, yes, women do need to take accountable for the type of men they allow in their lives. You have to take accountability for that. You have to be held accountable for that. A
I
man
take
is
my
only going to do what
5%
you allow him to do.
responsibility. I take my 5%.
I don't think it's 5%. I think it's an equal amount of responsibility in situations where both of you contribute to the negative outcomes. So the accountability, however, is limited to whatever your experiences are in that situation.
That is modern thinking right now, and Kevin Samuels would have a fit if he heard you say that.
Okay, so what?
Kwame Brown will have a fit too.
Okay, so what? Bring him on in.
Yeah, Kwame Brown, little hand sucker. The doctor made me do it, Kwame Brown. It was her fault.
I can't with you. Okay, we're not going to talk about Kwame Brown and his talent because I told you
His little hands. Say it. Say it with me, doctor. His little hands.
I can't say he has small hands because I don't know.
It's on record, ma'am.
Who measures somebody's hands?
The combine with every person that ever gets drafted, they go measure their height, weight, wingspan, hand size, all the good stuff.
Well, that's just creepy. But
they say Jared Goff, the old quarterback for the Rams, had small hands. That was one of the knocks against him as a quarterback.
Well, yeah, for a quarterback position, that makes sense.
Basketball too.
Oh, because they're holding the ball too?
Yes, most basketball players have huge hands, which is why it's funny Kwame Brown's hands are small.
Well, maybe that's why he missed all those free throws.
Yeah, he didn't have enough of his mama's cooking. That's what it was. I digress, though.
Why does everybody talk about that man's mama's cooking and seasoning? I don't know.
That's what he said. Everything he attributes everything to his mama's cooking. So except for that, he don't attribute the failures to the mama's cooking.
And okay, so well, you guys, that is definitely my show for today. I don't want to talk about Kwame Brown.
Don't run down.
Interesting stuff. I might go and look at it. Might go look it up. So let me know how you guys feel about the level of accountability that needs to be taken on the both parts of the male and the female in these relationships where they're super toxic and they're manifesting so many kids with so many frayed ties, to one another. Because you got to also look at the attachments of these people and their kids. And somebody get back with me and let me know how many of these women are suing him for child support. I'm curious about that. Just being nosy.
You Google it. I bet all 9 of them are doing it.
I'm gonna go look. I swear right now I'm like totally looking. So it has been good, you guys. Go out there and be good to each other. Do not walk around with toxic energy. Make good choices. Don't hurt anybody. Be kind to yourself. Be permissive in your self-exploration where you're actually able to see your truth for what it is and call a thing a thing.
Don't you have to accept your toxic side to have true balance?
You do. But it doesn't mean you have to continue to carry that energy around into the world.
It's necessary. It's a necessary evil. Like white Jesus.
Thanks, Mad Militant. Thank you guys for watching. I absolutely love you guys. And if you have not already liked and subscribed and hit the notification bell and all that good stuff, then you guys go ahead and do it now. Also, please be aware that next month I will only stream exclusively on YouTube because I feel like maybe that's going to help me build that platform over there. So go over, help support me, and share my platform with all the folks that you know, because it might be some very interesting content coming there very soon. And it'll be free for your emotional and your mental wellness too. So, Trey, again, tell them where to find you in your toxicity.
You can find me at MoneyBoy Trey as typed below in Mad Militant's comments in the way. But yeah, there's definitely a 3 in the Trey, but I'm on YouTube. Facebook ain't important. Other stuff ain't important. Just come to YouTube.
All right. Later days, folks. Take care.
My name is still blocked. That's the narcissistic traits of me coming out. I'm still
MoneyBoy. Trade. MoneyBoy. Trade. Private jet flights overseas. Damn pieces coming by the league. Piano witch playing with the keys. Waterfront chilling in Belize. Greenbacks, rack, blue cheese. Murder ain't came up in the street. Good dope, no price cheap. Pop pills, too high geek. Private jet flights overseas. Damn pieces coming by the league. Piano witch playing with the keys. Waterfront chilling in Belize. Greenbacks, rack, blue cheese. Murder ain't came up in the street. Good dope, no price cheap. Pop pills, too high geek. Counting hundreds with my amigos. Blue water, frozen Sub-Zero. Hit a lick, flip it twice, break bread with my people. Who knock and look out the people? Clutching my desert eagle. Cock, aim, squeeze, trigger, empty clip and reload. Pints, pills, 2 kilo. Bitches coming in trio. Shaking all ass, beat the pot like Migos. Last second shot and 1. Free throws, no Master P, but a I'm looking for the freak hoes. Pints, pills, 2 kilos, bitches coming in trio. Shaking all ass, beat the pot like Migos. Last second shot and one. Free throws, no Master P, but I'm looking for the freak hoes. Private jet flights overseas, dime pieces coming by the threes. Piano Wish playing with the keys. Waterfront chillin' in Belize. Greenbacks, rack, blue cheese. Murder 8 came up in the street. Good dope, no price cheap. Pop pills, too high geek. Private jet flights overseas, dime pieces coming by the threes. Piano Wish playing with the keys. Waterfront chillin' in Belize. Greenbacks, rack, blue cheese. Murder 8 came up in the street. Good dope, no price cheap. Pop pills, too high geek. Too high geek. Top floor, nosebleed seat. 4A, 4AB. Push star, got no key. MoneyBoy, Lou got said. Take a picture, paparazzi. Quay, Louis, Bill Cosby. Rape a hoe, no, not me. Hashtag MB3. Primetime NBC. On lane, I do me. Dial on, I spit heat. Private jet flights overseas. Dime pieces coming by the threes. Piano Wish playing with the keys. Waterfront chillin' in Belize. Greenbacks, rack, blue cheese. Murder 8 came up in the street. Good dope, no price cheap. Pop pills, too high geek. Private jet flights overseas. Dime pieces coming by the threes. Piano Wish playing with the keys. Waterfront chillin' in Belize. Greenbacks, rack, blue cheese. Murder 8 came up in the street. Good dope, no price cheap. Pop pills, too high geek.